Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 7th episode of the Loose Balls Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Ryan Heffernan. To the right is Tristan Mabe Dog Millionaire.
What's up?
To my left is the one and only Big Biggity Bean.
What up, though?
Once again, we have a lot to talk about today. We got Canada versus the United States. Canada got their revenge. We're going to be taking a deep dive into that. We also had some rivalry games in college basketball, including Michigan and Michigan State. And then our midseason NBA awards. We got the MVP, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man, Defensive Player, Coach of the Year, you name it. We got it covered. And most importantly, Steve Smith Sr. had sex.
Top story.
Top story of the week. We're going to be deep diving into that as well. That sounded a little gross.
Just like him.
Just like him. And yeah, our X account is LooseBallsPod1, where we update you guys on when our podcast drops, which drops on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, audio only. And YouTube, we post our video podcast, and we post our shorts on YouTube just like we do on TikTok. Our YouTube and TikTok handles are LooseBallsPod1, just as well as the X handle. And yeah, we're excited to get into this episode, and Bean, take it away.
All right, well, like I've said, thank you for listening. We had a interesting weekend. It started off rough for me, I'm not going to lie. We'll get into a little bit of that, but the Pistons last night and the Wings saved it. Mm-hmm. So all was good in the end. But let's start with Thursday. It is now 2010 Sidney Crosby, and now 2025 Connor McDavid. Some say Connor McJesus. But, back in 2010, Sid the Kid, overtime winner in the gold medal game, and now the Four Nations was capped off with a 3-2 win by Connor McDavid. And, just tough loss. Took my soul, but what did you think of the game, Abe?
It was a great game. You could tell that the players, and they were talking about it a lot, they've been waiting for this game, the highest skilled players in the game, all playing each other at the highest level, and for big stakes. And from outside looking in, not big stakes, just an all-star game. But these guys, they treated it like it was a gold medal game, for the Olympics. They went out and played their best hockey for their country, and it was great to watch. And obviously, it would have been nice if the U.S. would have won. But I'll tell you what, as a hockey fan, to watch Connor McDavid score that goal in overtime, mm-hmm. it was a perfect script, I would say. You look at a guy like McDavid who hasn't, his one knock is he hasn't won the big one.
He finally did it.
He finally did. Now, Yep. It was an all-star game, and who gives a fuck? But still, it was nice to watch. I think that NHL couldn't have asked for a better tournament. And I hope they continue to do it. I hope they find a way to get Russia in there, because I would love to see what the Russians have to say about, the getting their hands on the trophy.
Who would you take out?
Probably Finland. They're probably the weakest team. But the Finns, they're maybe try to expand it. They can maybe field another team, possibly to make it 6. We'll see. But got to get the Russians in there. Shout out Ovi, man. What a
13 away.
He's incredible.
Russian
machine never breaks.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get more into Ovi as he gets closer. It's I don't think we said, but that's your boy, Maben.
That is my guy.
Big Caps fan.
It's a joy to watch him, and it's great to watch him on a competitive team. They have the highest point total in the league as of now, and at least in my opinion, the last couple of years, it made me think that this Caps team is just going to be middle of the road and not really compete, and it's just going to be about Ovi chasing the goal record, especially when Backstrom went down and Oshie as well. But they've really retooled this roster. I was watching them over the weekend, and they're a legit team, and they can win it all this year.
I think, of course, Canada won. Mm-hmm. USA won the first game. Canada got their revenge. I think the biggest takeaway and the biggest winners is hockey fans in general. I think this tournament brought the most out of all the fan bases. I saw a lot of tweets on X that everyone was saying I think J.J. Watt tweeted this. Like, he has friends that have never watched a hockey game in their lives, and they're like, yo, like, where are we watching this game at?
Yeah.
You know, like, let's get some food. What food we getting for the game? And that's what they wanted, and that's what they aimed for, and that's what they got when it came to this game. And my question is this: Connor McJesus is obviously very good. Is he as hated as Sidney Crosby?
No, I don't think there's a lot of hate for him.
Yeah, because I heard his post-game interview, and he sounded like a very good guy.
He is. He is almost too good of a guy.
He gave his credit to the Americans. He said, well, this is only the All-Star game after they won. So, like, he was downplaying the importance of it, which...
Well, it's coming from a guy that lost in Game 7 in the Stanley Cup.
Right.
And, yes, it was a big deal, but obviously he's got bigger and better things. And I think it might have been, excuse me, might have been someone else, but he said it's not as big as the Olympics, which is the big one next year. So, obviously, he wants to win that one, too. But, yeah, no, he's a great competitor, great guy, but I wouldn't say he's, disliked, but the only hate he gets is not winning the Stanley Cup, but he's still, 27, 28?
Yeah,
but
but
he's
still young.
got time to figure it out. And I would also say, with that question, with hockey players, you sort of expect like that democratic answer. Like they're always going to give they're never going to give you any like bulletin board material. It's going to be like, the what they're supposed to say, they're going to say it. You know what I mean? And then just looking at it from, I'm glad you brought it up, being the
Uncle T,
Trey
baby.
Ball from Uncle T. The Olympics next year, and where does the U.S. team go from here, and how do they improve? They were missing two of their top D-men in Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy, who Hughes didn't even play, and Charlie McAvoy, who played so well against Canada in the first game, was out, injured his shoulder during that. Was it that game, or was it that game, the Canadian game, when he got hurt?
I can't remember. I think it was, yes.
But yeah, missing him was big, and then not having Hughes. And some of the guys really didn't show up. I don't really know why, like Vinny Trocheck or Chris Kreider were on the team. Adam Fox had a really bad tourney. I would love to see
Kreider,
someone brought it up.
Kreider was barely playing.
Why is Patty Kane not on that team?
I think they wanted to go as young as possible.
He's still an elite player, and we get the benefit of getting to watch him on a regular basis. Like, he's still elite, and he still has a place on Team USA, in my opinion.
I want to say quick shout out to Bennington in that overtime. Bennington made some crazy
standing
saves.
on his head.
Yeah, Matthews had some good shots on net.
Yeah,
and then it came down to, pretty ironic, Matthews is the one who made the mistake on the last play, which gave McDavid
jarring, because he played a great game and then just for some reason left the best player in the world by himself in the slot.
Yeah, that couple things have, to your point earlier, that McDavid doesn't get a lot of hate. Matthews definitely gets a lot of hate because he's only made it out of the first round, I think, once.
All the hate that's supposed to be towards like McDavid goes towards Matthews.
And it's plays like that. Like I haven't even saw the replay. Like I didn't even want to watch it again. But I just saw McDavid wide open, and I didn't even see Matthews' error. I didn't want to see it again. But to great point on Bennington, that's now his second big game he's won in that building. If you remember, 2019 he won Game 7 in the Stanley Cup against the Bruins. So he's a big game player. Team Canada got a lot of hate because he was their starting goalie, but he stepped up in a big way. He gave up some soft goals this tournament, but when Canada needed him the most, he was the best player by far in that overtime. And then McDavid, a couple minutes later, and the end-to-end action in overtime was awesome.
Incredible.
You knew it wasn't going to last long, and best player in the world made us pay.
What do you think, Maben? I'm asking you this question. I'm just curious. What do you think went wrong for the United States in that game specifically?
I don't think anything went wrong. Both teams were so evenly matched. It was going to come down to a couple plays here and there, and really it was just a lapse of defensive coverage that cost the Americans the game. And it's unfortunate that was their captain, their best player, who made that. And I'm sure it's going to motivate him all the way to the Olympics next year. And again, the Americans, I think they have some roster changes that they'll make. Adding maybe some different guys. Again, I think I don't see a reason why you would keep Patrick Kane off that team. Maybe you want a younger squad, but then you look at the Canadians, like Sidney Crosby, he's 37. He's on that squad. And it's not like Kane has regressed that much. So I'd be shocked if he's not on the team in 2026.
I know I'm showing a lot of love right now to Wings players, but why not Alex DeBrincat too?
Yeah, DeBrincat too. He deserves a look as well. And I'll tell you what, I'll take him over Chris Kreider all day, every day.
Yeah, like I said, they didn't even play Kreider at the end. It was crazy. And DeBrincat now leads the Wings in goals, and that's a team with Larkin,
he's been playing
Kane,
great,
and Lucas Raymond. So he's getting hot right now.
Didn't he have 2 goals last game too, or the game before?
He's
against who'd they play?
I believe he's on like a 5 or 6 game
Wild,
point streak
against the Wild. Didn't he have 2 goals, or did he only have
possibly?
Yeah, he's on like a 5 or 6.
He scored against Anaheim as well.
Yeah. Yep. Any other takeaways, boys?
Just good for hockey.
Yeah, it was the highest ratings in a non-Stanley Cup game in over a decade. So NHL figured something out, and now it's their job to keep that momentum up for sure.
Absolutely. Watch more hockey.
Amen. All right, moving on. It was big college basketball weekend. We had a pair of top 25, top 10, top 15 matchups on Saturday, and obviously the big one in Michigan State. We'll start there. Before I bring up the MSU-Michigan game, maybe, and I was watching, it was at halftime. Everything was good in the Michigan game. They started out slow, but they had a 4-point lead at halftime. I knew it wasn't over, but, all things considered, they were winning the game. And then I watched the end of the Flyers game during halftime, and the refs just, I was bitching them out. Like, I was like, fuck you, god damn it. And the Flyers were down by 5, had a shooting foul, and made all 3 free throws, and on the inbounding pass, Malachi Smith forced a jump ball, and they caught a foul. Oh, and I was in a bad mood, and
even worse.
And then Michigan State in the second half of that game, I was screaming the whole half. I had to go outside, and I had to go in my car to cool off.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I was still listening to the game, but I had to come in, and it was.
We
bad.
need footage. Next time that happens, videotape yourself.
Why did you need to go in the car to cool off? It's pretty cold outside right now.
But I mean, I turned my car on.
He needed some air. He needed some alone time.
Yeah, I know.
It's like I was sitting in the freezing
pretty cold in Michigan.
It is pretty cold.
My car does start, by the way.
You should have just taken all your clothes off and just walked outside.
I'll do that next time for you. I'll send you a video.
Yeah. Send a video.
What did you think, Mabes, of that game?
A couple things. I think it assured what we were talking about last week, where Michigan State's a legit contender this year. They are all phases of the game. They got great guard play, which is what's important when it comes to March, when you want to win in March. Great guard play. Jace Richardson,
the real deal,
is incredible. He's a big-time player as a freshman. And we talked about their bigs last pod. Nothing special, but they're going to do the little gritty things you need in order to win. And for Michigan, again, I'm not off of that loss, but I am concerned a bit about their guard play. It's all about, obviously, Wolf and Golden, and shout out Golden for
proposing.
Yeah.
I got a take on that later.
Congrats to him. Weird time to do it, but, whatever you want to do, it's up to you, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I know they're all about the bigs, but as I said, when it comes to March, you need great guard play. And I don't know if they have that at this time. Do I still think they can make a run? Sure. But matchups will be a big part of it.
Yeah, Gale, who's more of a wing type player than a guard, only has 1 3 in a month. Donaldson didn't hit a 3. He's hot and cold. Burnett didn't do much either, shooting the ball. Trey Holloman had 3 threes in a row in the second half, and that's with Jace Richardson keeping them in the game in the first half, and then closing out the game for them in the second half. Fears gave him good minutes. I do think now this isn't really chirping him. I think Holloman's should be the starter. I think he's better than Fears.
Mm-hmm.
They both started the year to begin the year, but obviously you can't keep Richardson out of the starting lineup. They're getting good production from Cooper, and Kohler's played a lot better. Sapala is so their transfer center. And I'm a big fan of Bucker, but they don't play him as much. But it just goes to show you how deep they are.
And Akins.
And shout out Akins, Farmington boy.
I didn't know that.
He's their senior leader. He's been there for 4 years. He's a very good scorer. He's probably their best shooter. But if they get like Holloman, a surprise shooting performance, I think they're going to be that much harder to beat because they play very good defense. And I believe Michigan went on a 15-0 run.
Yeah, in the first half.
In the first half, after a good start for MSU, and they didn't let that phase them. And Izzo knows how to win that game, that's for sure.
And the other thing I like about if I'm looking at teams that I want to believe in March, and Michigan State is a prime example of that. It's like it's important. It's nice to have like a go-to guy. But when it's like a new guy every other game, like against Michigan, it was Holloman. But then, it could be any given day. It could be Richardson who could be your guy. It could be Akins who's getting buckets, right? If it could be a different guy for you that's your number one, and you can still win with that, I'm a big fan of that. Instead of having just one guy who's your go-to, it is nice to have like a Cooper Flag on your team, a Janai Broom. But when you have different guys who can be the main scorer, that's huge come March.
Yeah.
I feel like the story of the game for me was Michigan State just played better. Michigan State, they out-rebounded Michigan. I think they doubled their offensive rebounds in the entire game. It was like 14-7 or something. So Michigan State, they're good enough as a team. They obviously run about 10 men on the court. You gotta limit their opportunities to one shot per possession. Every time you give them an extra shot, you're just giving another Tom Izzo team another chance to score. And
can't do that against good teams.
And Golden was great on and off the court, I guess, with his proposal.
Yeah, I mean, it was a win and a loss.
Yeah, win and a loss.
500, not bad.
Yeah, but as you said, outside of Wolf and Golden, nobody could do anything, it seemed like. Gale had his worst game of the year, I feel like. I don't even know if he should be starting right now. He's just looked really bad. But it looks like he's having a bounce-back game against Nebraska right now. So,
yeah, they couldn't rebound the whole game. Vlad Golden had an and one to cut it to 3 with like 4 minutes left, and
missed the freebie.
Missed the free throw, and they couldn't get a stop. They kept getting out of hustled on the rebounds.
Did you guys think Michigan State was going to choke it away when Michigan started clawing back at the end?
I was feeling hopeful, but they were just playing so poorly, and then they had no energy. I mean, they just completely folded after that. After they cut it to 3, and it was all Michigan State from there on out. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to find the stats on the free throw shooting. I feel like we missed a lot of free throws. I don't know if we did, or maybe it was just some that stuck out to me. But did you guys feel that way?
11 of 18.
11 of 18. Yeah, not great. But Michigan State was 10 of 15. So.
Yeah, Michigan's not a great free throw shooting team. That hasn't really cost them yet this year.
Did this take away confidence for you being in Michigan making a run in the playoffs or in March Madness?
Not really. I mean, this performance right now against Nebraska is not really encouraging.
Not what you want to see after a loss.
Still, I mean, Golden just missed a 2-footer. Well, I mean, obviously Michigan State is really good, and it's a rivalry game, and with Dusty May, it's the first time him experiencing that. And Izzo's been in this rivalry for 30, 40 years as an assistant, going back as an assistant. So it just means a lot more to the players, and you could see like they just came out completely flat. But no, I still have some faith. I mean, these next 2 weeks, they have three games this week and two to close out the last week. So I think in those 5 games, it's going to tell me a lot about this team.
Yeah, for sure. And Saturday there was a lot of good games too.
Mm-hmm.
Duke blew out Illinois by 43 points.
I told you, man, that's going to say a lot about Illinois. They shouldn't even be in the tournament after that.
No, they have a couple injuries too, right?
They should be disqualified. Yeah.
You think they should be disqualified?
Yeah.
Just stop playing now.
What are your guys' thoughts on Kentucky this season?
I think they're good. They were missing 2 top guys, Butler and somebody else against Bama. I still think they are a Final Four contender. When teams are they're just an all around team. They have scoring, big men, defense is solid. I'm not a big fan of teams that are just defensively sound. Like at Texas A&M, Texas A&M is really good at muddying it up, but do I see them having the offense to go far in the tourney? Not really. I think Kentucky does have another gear. And then off of you brought up Duke. People are going to say Duke. People are going to disregard Duke because of the ACC and how bad it's been this year. But Duke is one of the best teams in the last few years. Not just this year, but in the last few years. They are so good. I mean, obviously you have Cooper Flagg, but the pieces around him, Malawach, the big man, he is not just a big guy. He's got a little finesse to his game. He's got a nice touch, good rim protector. Huge fan of Tyrese Proctor. I think he's their maybe second or third option. He's a big time player, and Con Knipple is sort of like just a glue guy who he's a deadly shooter as well. They're just so deep, and Cooper Flagg may be the best freshman we've seen in a long time. I think Duke's my favorite to win it all.
I'm looking at the game that just happened. Duke versus Illinois, where the final score was 110-67. So their starting 5 scored 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, and the guy on the bench had 17.
I mean, just so balanced.
They just needed someone to get 14. That would have been pretty sick.
Yeah, right.
Get 10 numbers in a row.
But you look at it too, like you said. I mean, Cooper Flagg had 16 points.
He only had 2 at the half.
I mean, it's just so it's not just one player. It could be. It's a collective unit, and their defense is smothering.
Mm-hmm.
So, Auburn, respect them, but to me, I think Duke is the favorite. Not saying a whole lot. It's like a two-team race at the moment, but I'll take Duke over Auburn.
Yeah, I think I said it last week here. They're two of my favorites to make the Final Four. I know Duke beat them early in the year, so that says a lot about them and their squad, because I think Auburn is the deepest team.
Mm-hmm. At Cameron, though. So.
Yeah, but I would love to see a rematch.
Yeah,
because they're by far the two best teams in the country.
What about Florida?
Florida's up there, but I think Auburn and Duke they've separated themselves. But Florida have national championship potential for sure.
Yeah, they're the third on that list. But I saw something interesting. Joe Lunardi released his new bracketology last week, and he had them playing potentially UConn in the second round. So that would be a tough draw for them.
UConn's bad this year, though.
Yeah,
they're not bad.
They're not what they were.
No,
but still, I mean, obviously they're not as good as the last 2 years, but that would be a tough draw.
They're not as bad as they've been playing, but they've been playing like they know that they're having a disappointed year. Like they don't. Even Hurley said it himself. Like after the Maui, the team just lost so much confidence that he can't coach them the same way as he had been. That tells you all you need to know about the state of UConn basketball. I don't think they're going anywhere though. Like Dan Hurley will retool.
Oh yeah, they'll get more players in the transfer portal, and these guys on this team will be a year older. But no, speaking of them, and I mean St. John's looks so good, and St. John's beat them yesterday. Their guard play, they can't really shoot the ball, but it doesn't matter because they can score down low.
Mm-hmm.
They got a decent enough mid-range game. They can't really shoot free throws either, but they're so hard to score on.
Mm-hmm.
And Wilcher and Lewis, and who's the other guy? I'm blanking on the name, but they're probably the best guard play in the country.
Mm-hmm. Up there.
And obviously, like a hot shooting team can beat you in the tournament, but when they're as good as they are defensively,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them in the early. They're another Final Four team that I love.
How long?
Agreed.
How long has St. John's been good? I mean,
The first year.
is it just since Rick Pitino?
Yeah, they haven't been good in almost 20 years. Which it's funny you say that. Half the coach that won them a national championship in the 80s passed away this year, and now he's kind of overlooking them. And
you think that's funny?
did I say it was funny? Oh yeah, I did, didn't I? I think it's interesting. I should say
I'm just fucking
that.
Super funny, guys. The coach died.
No, I think it's interesting that Carnessa passed away, and now they haven't been good in 20 years, and now they're one of the Final Four contenders for sure.
For sure.
You think they're gonna make the Final Four? Are they gonna be in Final Four in your bracket?
It depends how the bracket
ball
lines
out,
up,
yeah.
but
Depends on the draw.
I like them right now at least. I think they're better than Florida for sure. Like if they're in Florida's region,
Ooh.
give me Florida. If they're in Auburn or Dukes, I think that would be tough. I know it's a toss-up between Houston too. They had a big win over Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State's similar to St. John's, and they have good guard play. But
And they had a lot of injuries too. I think they were missing their top two scorers.
But their offense scares me. They're good defense. They're very, very similar team to the Johnnies. But I trust Patino more. I like Altoberger and for Iowa State, but I think Houston's the team to beat in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I think they should be one, but if they're two, that sets it up even better for the Johnnies' chances because St. John's is going to be a 2 seed.
Right. If I was St. John's, I would want Houston to be the one, and I would want to be in their region. I think they have a good chance because Houston's sort of the same, defensive mindset first. Now, I do think this is the best Houston offensive team.
Yes.
In some
Crier's
years.
legit.
Yeah, he is big
and
time.
sharp.
So this Houston team may be different, but if I was St. John's and I had to pick between Houston, Auburn, Duke, or
Bama.
Florida, Bama's a bad matchup for St. John's because if
You think
Bama's
so?
hitting their shots, I don't think there's anything they can do.
I don't think they would give up. They would give up good looks occasionally, but I think they would contain them. I really do.
You're swaying me a bit. I'm not big on Bama just in general either this year.
Yeah.
I think they
had a good win this
team.
weekend.
There's no doubt about that, but they are. It's literally just shoot as many threes as you can or get to the rack, and that's about it.
Yeah, whether Houston or St. John's are a 1 or 2 seed, I would want Bama to be that 1 or 2 seed in my region.
With St. John's?
Yeah. Or if you're looking at Houston from Houston's angle, they're like 41 or 42-4 now at home since
Sheesh.
2021. Yeah, Kelvin Sampson's done a
Holy
great
shit.
job, and that's with the last 2 years now being in the Big 12. So they're always a very solid program. I think my top 4 teams are Houston. I like Florida at 3, and then two at Duke and 1 in Auburn. But St. John's is definitely number 5, and I think they would beat Florida too. But obviously, you got to give Florida their flowers for being in the SEC as well.
You a Tennessee believer?
I don't know about it all depends on how the bracket looks. Big block by Golden right there.
Chaz Lanier looked like a beast.
He couldn't miss.
I think he made 8 threes.
Yeah,
A&M.
they made the not the Final Four, but they made the Elite 8 last year. So I believe that they can definitely go to the second weekend. But I don't know about the Final Four. It'll all depend.
Speaking of Houston, by the way, I feel like Houston's been having a lot of really good guards recently.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had Marcus Sasser 3 years ago.
Right.
Or 3 years ago. Now they have LJ Cryer. Who was the guard they had last year?
Jamal Shed.
Yeah.
Should. They got
He's in the
Sharp
NBA
this
now.
year too.
Yeah, they got a lot of good guards coming out of that.
Kelvin Sampson's one of the best coaches in the country.
Yeah,
Easily.
all their players jump out of the gym. They're always a great rebounding team.
Mm-hmm.
Defense, offense, it doesn't matter. Like you gotta to play for Kelvin Sampson, you gotta defend and rebound.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why like they don't have the best shooters every year, and they usually have occasionally a good guard. But now they have Cryer and Sharp that can shoot the ball and score. So I think this could be definitely their year to win it all for sure as well.
Maben, I have a quick question for you.
I have an answer.
I was watching the Oregon-Wisconsin game as well as the Tennessee A&M game. I was more so watching the Tennessee A&M game.
Okay.
Just because I don't know. I wanted to know a little bit more about those teams coming into March. But you texted about Wisconsin in our chat,
right?
And you said you would have believed in them if they would have held on to their lead against Oregon, and then later on in that game, Oregon came back, brought it to overtime, and eventually won the game. So you're not a believer in Wisconsin anymore?
Easily.
Or you sound
I am. I would say for a couple of reasons. One, Oregon, although they're not as good as they were last year, Oregon's still a very good team. They're still well coached. I forget the coach's name, but he's a good coach. He's well respected.
Wisconsin?
No, it's Oregon.
Dana Altman.
Dana Altman, exactly.
The most underrated coach in the country.
He's a big time coach.
I don't like the way he looks.
What is it, the haircut?
I think it is. Something about
gotta
him
be the
just
haircut.
scares me.
He is a scary guy. I feel like most coaches, they're scary.
Yeah, but like he's one of those guys I wouldn't want to shake his hand after the game.
Oh shit!
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's more of like I don't respect this guy.
No, it's not about it's when you look like that. It's not like respect thing. That's how I
think Oregon's a sneaky team to make.
Agreed. I think they can make a run. So that's part number one where, okay, I give Wisconsin a bit of a leeway because I do think Oregon is a sneaky good team. It can be a sneaky team in the tourney here. Number two, their guard play is still good, and that's huge come March. And a loss like that, third part here, a loss like that can sort of rally everybody together. And it's a good time. It's a good time to get that loss sort of out of your system, and if Greg Gard can rally his guys around that loss and play better, their next game will be very telling.
Yeah,
and I think they can use it as momentum heading into conference championship and the big one.
Yeah,
big dance.
So I said my spiel in Wisconsin last week. I don't really trust them come March, but Tanji's very good. Klessman's really good, and who is it? Blackwell, your boy Maben, went to Mother Rice.
Rice graduate.
Yeah, so the difference between this year's Wisconsin team and previous Wisconsin teams since Greg Gard's taken over is this is his best offensive unit he's had. So they're not as good defensively, but I think John Tanji is gonna potentially win Big Ten Player of the Year. So, we'll see with them. Then they got Michigan, or not Michigan, but they got Michigan State coming up. So that's going to be a big test and a good game, and that could determine if they're potentially share the Big Ten with Michigan and Michigan State. So some good ball in this last 2 weeks for Big Ten.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like I said, I like Oregon. Out on Illinois completely, and Purdue's lost 4 in a row. They had a good first half against Indiana. I know it was a rivalry game, and Indiana's trying to work their way back up in the bubble, but they couldn't score in that second half. It was ugly for them.
What's that guard's name from Purdue?
Braden Smith.
Braden Smith. He's fun to watch.
He is.
He is a good player.
I just started watching Purdue games about 2 weeks ago, and he's just all over the floor, diving, playing good defense.
He may be the best. He may be the best guard in the country.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's really good at his role, but they're missing that that one piece. Obviously, they had the best player in the country in Zach Edey, and Kaufman-Wren's good, but there's just something that's not right with this Purdue team this year.
I feel like they always have that really tall dude. And is Kaufman that tall? I feel like he's not.
I don't think so.
They had another 7. He was over 7 foot.
Who's the
a
guy?
Freshman, but he got hurt at the beginning of the year. So
who was the guy before Edey that they had? That big man. Didn't they have another guy before Edey?
They breed like 7-footers.
Yeah, that's like what I remember them for. I feel like.
I can't think of.
Yeah, they had that big man. He was going to be their next couple of years, but he got hurt at the beginning of the year. So
one thing I do want to bring up: what about the fall of Kansas? Kansas unranked for the first time. For, what was it, like 1,000 days, 1,700 days, something like that?
Yep.
It's an indictment on that big white dude who used to be a Wolverine and then made it all about himself.
Hunter Dickinson.
Oh my gosh, he's just such a. I'm excited for him in his career as a Guangdong Tiger. That's all I'll say.
Did you see that stat today, Maven? That half of the AP top 10, preseason top 10, are out then.
Really?
UConn, UNC. I forgot the other two
UNC's
teams.
a tough watch.
I haven't really watched them too much of them. RJ Davis has been in college for too long.
Yeah, he's got to go.
He's
He's got to start looking at jobs at car dealerships.
He's collecting his NIL paycheck.
Yeah, smart guy.
Did you see Bill Belichick? I know you probably saw this.
I did see.
Did you see what his girlfriend was wearing?
Yeah, she looked like a little 8th grader.
Yes,
with
a teenager.
jacket.
Sheesh.
I just, things are really sus in the Patriots organization. The things with Robert Kraft. And then
What things?
That's something. And Bill Belichick, as soon as he's done being a head coach, he's dating someone. Like he had to ID her before he even met her. Make sure she's old enough. Just shit's crazy, man.
Good for him.
Good for him. I mean,
good for her too.
I can't imagine being her. Obviously, I know why she's with him.
Why is that, Ryan?
Yeah, tell us.
Great looks and great leadership as a head coach.
Great personality.
Great head coach.
Dagger Maben.
And he already has so many rings.
Yeah. What's one more?
What's one more? Yeah.
I would love to be a fly on a wall for just to listen to their one-on-one banter. What
in the bedroom?
No, get your head out of that guy, Ryan. No, they're out in dinner. I would love to hear their conversation. What in the world could they be talking about?
I think she's a philosophy or psychology major, so they're probably talking about that.
You don't think they break down film together?
Do you think she helps with recruiting, Maben?
Getting in, definitely. Getting in the X's and O's.
What if Bill uses his girlfriend to try to lure people to come there?
Probably. I mean, listen, I wouldn't put it past Bill to do whatever he needs to do to get the guys in.
Maybe this was a plan all along.
Maybe
she's a team player.
Team player.
Oh God! All right. Yeah, that's
Pistons win. Another one.
Oh, Ty Lue, is he bitching at someone? No, he's just walking off the court. 7 in a row for the Stones, boys. Let's go.
7 in a row.
Hottest team in the league.
Some are saying. But, that's our college basketball talk. And speaking of the NBA, you got some questions for us today, Hef.
Yes, I do. We were going to go over some midseason NBA awards today. We're a little late but we still wanted to talk about them. We got the MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. We're just going to give a brief take about who we think should be the leaders of all these categories right now. And starting with the most valuable player, Christopher Big Biggity Bean. Who's the most valuable player?
Wonder where he's going to go.
I wonder.
Yeah, this is tough because I was watching the Thunder last night, and they were up 105 to 100, I think, and they went on a 10-0 run. The T-Wolves, they were playing Timberwolves, and they couldn't do shit. They put in Shea, and they immediately went on a 15-3 run. And they were making a bunch of threes. He made one of them, but the spacing was so much better. And obviously, it's not just that game, but it's the latest game. And I haven't watched their game tonight. They're also playing the Timberwolves again. But, it's clearly he's one of the best players, and it's obviously Nikola Jokic is the other. It's a two-horse race. Nikola's won 3 out of the last 4 years. The one year he didn't. He came in second. So he's been in the race the last 5 years now. So it's been incredible on the run he's been on. And Shea was the runner-up last year. So Shea's obviously first in points, leading the league in scoring. But Jokic is top 5 in points, rebounds, and assists. So it's tough to say. I still think the Thunder, obviously not. They want to be as good without Shea. But I don't even think the Nuggets would be in a playoff spot right now if it wasn't for Jokic. So I'm gonna give the slight edge to Jokic, but again, I know Shea is a big favorite right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wins. But Jokic is having his best year, and considering he's won 3 of them, he should get it again. But again, it's this thing called voter fatigue, and it's
100%.
It's happened with LeBron 100%, 100 times. But again, this is my midseason MVP, so I'm going to give it to Jokic.
100% agree
very
on
close.
all takes, on all fronts. Being if they give the award to the best player in the league, it should be Jokic.
Yep.
I think it should be Jokic. Bean thinks it should be Jokic. But who are they going to give it to? They're going to give it to the best player on the best team. They're going to give it to SGA. Voter fatigue is a very real thing.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's really just a two-man race. I don't see anybody else.
Giannis is having a good year, but he'll finish third.
Mm-hmm.
Cade should be top 5, I think, for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I think the voter fatigue thing is such – it's so true, but I hate it so much.
Yeah.
Even though – as much as I don't like LeBron James.
I thought you loved LeBron.
I love him now.
Because he's got a big bet on him.
Yeah. As much as I don't like LeBron James, he could have 7 to 8 MVPs right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think what they should do, because they're always like, oh, the best player on the best team. I think if you're a top 4 team in either conference, the best player on the best team thing shouldn't matter. So if you're a top 4 team in either conference, then it just goes based on the eyeball test. You know, but back in the day, Russell Westbrook won the MVP just because he averaged a triple-double. Jokic is like 0.1 away from averaging a triple-double, I think. So if they gave Russell Westbrook that MVP, they should give Nikola Jokic this one as well, because he's almost doing what Westbrook was doing back in Oklahoma City.
Makes sense. The logic's there.
So I think Shea's having a great year. He's gonna win an MVP. He's gonna win the MVP this year, without a doubt in my mind. Just because of the voter fatigue, which, you know, that's just how they do it.
That's the reality of
It's
it.
just the reality of the situation. Most people don't like it, but that's just how it is.
Yep.
But I think it should be Nikola Jokic as well, and I think it should be based off the eyeball test. Like being said, if Nikola Jokic isn't on that team, they're at the bottom 3 in the West.
Playing, maybe.
Yeah, I think I don't know about. They might be. They would definitely be around the play-in. I don't know about.
Their whole offense revolves around Jokic. Every single thing around Jokic.
That's the best take right there. If, like, I think OKC is obviously not as good, but they're still competitive even if Shea's off that team. The Nuggets, who knows what they look like without Jokic? It's all about him, and it's most valuable.
Right.
That's what it should be. It shouldn't be best player on the best team. Who's most valuable to their team? I do like that idea half of let's just you have to be top 4 in your conference in order to be considered as MVP. I don't hate that idea.
Yeah, and then if you're top 4, your record shouldn't matter. It shouldn't sway any decisions. It should just be based on the player.
You're onto something.
Yeah.
Let's get Adam Silver on the phone.
Maybe next year, once, you know. But yeah, MVP, we all got Nikola Jokic. We all know it's going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a close race. I mean, both deserve it, but
odds-wise, I think SGA is running away with it.
Yeah,
he's
he is.
minus 500.
It's all because of voter fatigue. But again, it's not to bash Shea or bash Jokic, but it's just reality of the situation.
Sure.
And so next NBA award we have.
What do we got?
Sponsored by Kia.
Shout out Kia. Sponsor us, Kia.
We got the Defensive Player of the Year award being midseason.
Yeah, so midseason, it's definitely Wemby. I know Wemby can't win it because he got hurt and he doesn't fit the 65 threshold. He's only played in 48 games. But this is midseason award, not the full year. So Victor Wembanyama definitely takes the cake. I mean, he's going to win. He might win close to 10 if he stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He would have won it. He was running away with it. What was he, minus 10,000?
Yeah,
so he
gets 4 blocks in his sleep.
Yeah, so he's gonna run away with a lot of these. He was going to this year, but unfortunately got hurt, so he can't win the award. But midseason, he wins part of my takes midseason awards for Defensive Player of the Year. Or excuse me, loose balls.
I don't even know who else would be in the running, so I'll give it to Jaren Jackson Jr. Seems like he's gonna win it.
Yeah.
The Thompson twins should get looks as well because they are top. Both of them are probably top 7 or 8 defenders just in the league already, and it's only their second seasons. Probably slight edge to Amen, but they're both incredible defenders. Who else is in the running other than I know Jaren Jackson's a favorite.
I'm gonna go on DraftKings right now and look at all the favorites.
Sponsor us, DraftKings.
Shout out DraftKings.
Or FanDuel. Or Caesars. We'll take anything.
So the Defensive Player of the Year, the top 5 goes Jaren Jackson Jr., Evan Mobley,
Moby Poo,
Lou Dort, Dyson Daniels, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Dyson Daniels also, by the way. Dyson Daniels is big time. And our guy Deuce, he was cooking him.
Dyson Daniels had a good shooting night too. So
he is. He's a very good player.
I like his game a lot.
Big fan of Dyson Daniels, and he's leading the league in steals by a wide margin. I think like by 50 or something crazy like that.
It's like Wemby's disparity in blocks.
So Dyson Daniels deserves some looks.
Your point. Our graphics department digged it out yesterday. Were you watching the game yesterday? It's the biggest margin since 1984 or something like that.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He definitely
between 1 and 2
looks. I don't think they'll give it to a guard though. They'll give it to a big man.
Yeah, look, Triple J will win his second. Second in
Mobley,
2 years.
Mobley too. Mobley is such a great player, and I think he's a clear second best player in that draft class. I would love to build my team around him. I just don't think they give it to him, so I'll go Jaren Jackson. He deserves it too. He's such an underrated player.
Yeah. One thing I'm very intrigued about, because Wembanyama is leading the league in blocks by 70. I wonder if anyone even catches him, even though he's not going to play another game.
Probably not.
I don't think anyone's going to catch him.
Probably not.
He's still going to have the most blocks. That would be hilarious if they can't give it to him. I forgot the 65-game rule. But yeah, I would lean Jaren Jackson Jr. or Lou Dort. Every time I watch the Oklahoma City Thunder, Lou Dort is just locking down one of their best players.
Dort or Chamber.
And he's the perfect fit for this Oklahoma City Thunder team. Their entire team is just a perfect fit, in my opinion.
Yep.
They have a mix of really good mid-range shooters. They have a couple deep threats who can knock down threes. No, 50% three-point shooter, I don't think.
No.
But they have all consistent three-point shooters. None of them are really bad. Like Chet Holmgren, J-Dub, Lou Dort, Shea. All those guys can hit threes.
Joe.
Aaron Wiggins, all those guys can make threes.
He's going crazy.
Patty Mahomes and Brittany at the Texas Tech game.
Oh, wow.
She should coach the boys up.
Yeah, but I would lean Lou Dort, but it just sucks for Wemby that he's not going to be able to get this award because we all know he was going to win it.
It's fine. He's going to get a ton in his career.
He's going to win 10. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah. So the next award we're talking about is the NBA Kia Coach of the Year.
Shout out Kia.
Shout out Kia. Speaking of my stepdad John is getting a Kia today, which is actually kind of ironic.
Shout out, John.
Yeah, he totaled his car.
Shout out John. Shout out Kia.
Bean, who's your coach of the year?
So I don't even know like the odds or who the top 3 are right now.
So,
But
go
ahead.
the favorite is, what's his name? The Cavaliers head coach.
Kenny
I was gonna
Atkinson.
go
Kenny
with Kenny.
Atkinson is like minus 700.
Oh, I promise you, I wasn't looking at the charts. I think Kenny. I mean, Cavs were the 4 seed last year, and they're now 45-10. I mean, they were a good team, but he's taken them to a new level. Was it Dagenholt? He's good. He won. Did he win it last year? I
I
believe.
believe so, right?
Yeah, he did. He won it last year.
So they both are probably 2 of the best coaches in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what he's done, I mean, 45-10 or whatever it is remarkable. Very, very talented squad, but he's definitely got the most out of his players. Mobley was an all-star this year. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell hasn't even been the best, and he's still an all-star. And obviously Garland is very good too. So he's got the most out of his players, and that's why they're first in the East by a wide margin, and that's with the Celtics being the defending champs. So definitely I got to go with Kenny.
Tristan?
Agreed. One thing I will say, try not to be biased.
I am with you though. I know what you're gonna say, and I'm completely.
JB Bickerstaff does deserve a look just because of the massive leap that we've taken, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that we win like 45 games.
Well, we're 30. What are we? 32 and
32 now.
26. 32 and 26.
We can get to 45 wins, and
That'd be a 31-point game difference.
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's night and day, and
Yep.
you know that there's a lot of factors. You know, young players getting better. We added some good veterans, but coaching is such a big part of it. And to go from complete ineptitude last year to, you know, potentially 45 wins this year, he definitely deserves some looks. It will go to the best team, the coach that coaches the best team.
Yeah.
And I think he deserves it. Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah.
They've been incredible. So I'll give it to him, but JB definitely deserves some love.
100% agree. I was hoping you were gonna say that because I was gonna say the same exact thing. JB Bickerstaff should definitely be in the hunt.
Where's he on that list, Steph?
I would
Have you
have.
seen?
I would have to
I got
check.
it.
I would have to check.
No,
Yeah,
go.
you could go check.
Yeah, say what you were gonna say. My bad.
But yeah, I definitely got Cavs, Pistons, and Rockets. I think those are the 3 teams that have improved the most. So Emu Doka, he's done a hell of a job with all those young guys. He's got Alperen Sengun, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks. Like he's fitting into that offense pretty well.
Amen.
You know, Amen Thompson. Like their team is really good, and they play very good team ball as well. You know, like no one is very selfish. You know, sometimes they'll go down to Alperen in the paint. Next thing you know, Jalen Green's dunking on someone, or Van Vliet, or someone's gonna make a 3. So I like the way they play. They're one of my favorite teams to watch. Yeah, they're gonna give it to what's his name again? I keep forgetting it.
Kenny Atkinson.
Kenny Atkinson. Yeah. He probably deserves it, but I wouldn't underappreciate what JB Bickerstaff and Emu Doka have also done this season.
Yeah, so JB is 3rd right now, plus 1,700. Kenny is
Good
minus
value.
700, and Ime is plus 700. So
It is good value, but it's not good value when you know what's gonna happen. Like it's just the NBA is just so predictable. Like for the awards, you already know who's gonna get it.
yeah,
But
100%.
Yeah, that's our 3rd award of the year. The next one we got is, you know, kind of a shit show right now. It's the Rookie of the Year race. The Rookie of the Year race is not looking good right now, boys.
Do we have to do this one? I don't even know any rookies that are playing well.
We don't.
Yeah, will we give it to just default number 1 pick, Ricochet?
I would say Jared McCain would have won
Yeah.
it if he was healthy throughout the year.
Castle, probably Stephon Castle.
That's who I was gonna say. Stephon Castle. He's averaging like 12 and 4 this season. He's a good player. He fit well around Wemby. He really came on later on in the season, and he was in the dunk contest too. That's pretty cool.
Did you watch the dunk contest?
I did not watch the dunk contest, but
Give it to Ron Holland.
Yeah, facts.
Ron's a dog.
Ron is a dog. But yeah, we don't have to do the rookie of the year because this rookie class has been.
I'm looking at. Oh, I forgot about this guy. So yeah, Stephon Castle.
Jalen Wells.
Yeah, Jalen Wells is really good too.
Is Jalen Wells having a good year?
Jalen Wells is having a great year, dude. The Memphis Grizzlies are
good.
loaded everywhere. They have talent throughout their entire roster, point guard to center, even on backups.
Khalil Ware is in the top 5 or top 4.
Khalil Ware is a good player too.
He is.
He's gonna be
up
good.
there.
He is.
Yeah, Ricochet is up there. Yeah, I'll give it to Khalil Ware. I haven't watched him too much, but
He started off real strong and then has sort of faded. I think he was the favorite for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, he got hot in like December, like right when the Jimmy Butler stuff kind of happened, and he stepped his game up. But I don't. Good for Castle, but again, we kind of knew this class was weak coming in, this draft class, and yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I was hoping this draft class would shock some people and hopefully
Shockingly bad.
You know, wishful thinking. You know, I was really hoping it was going to be good, but just like out of nowhere, just so, you know, going into future seasons, you could always see potential going into draft classes and be excited. But, you know, not this year. But, you know, next year's draft class is going to be pretty damn good. So
give it to Ronald Holland, the
yeah,
second.
So we're just going to move on to the next award, which is Sixth Man of the Year. Bean, do you have any contenders for Sixth Man of the Year?
Yeah, I'm going to be biased. Shout out our boy
Beasley.
Malik Beasley.
Little shimmy.
I'll give it to him. I forget who. There's a guy that's a big favorite.
Pritchard.
Right now.
Peyton Pritchard.
Pritchard, yeah. I mean, give me 3. I mean,
or DeAndre Hunter. He's probably up there as well.
Yeah, Hunter is 3rd. Beasley's 2nd.
I think Amen was up there for a little bit as well. While he was coming off the bench, I think he's starting now.
Yeah, so I like Beasley just because Pritchard's a very good player, but he's on a great team. They obviously won the title last year. Threesley is on a team that won 14 games, and he's been a big part of that foundation this year. He knows his role great. He doesn't bitch about not starting. Comes in, he finishes games, makes threes left and right. The one game that he had to start recently during the 7-game winning streak they're currently on, he got a career high in threes. So give me Threesley. Pritchard will probably win, but again, you got to look at the teams and have some context over it. And I think Malik Beasley is the best sixth man this year.
100%. It's pretty easy. You look at Peyton Pritchard's life. He comes into the game, and everybody's worried about Tatum and Brown or Holiday or Derek White, Porzingis. You're the afterthought, so it's pretty not that hard to get open shots. With Malik Beasley, it's incredible how consistent he's been. Because high-volume shooter, he's coming off the bench, and he's shooting that rock. Yep. So the fact that he's coming in, probably shooting over 45%, I'd assume, and he's averaging like 14 to 16 points a game. He's been incredible and a culture guy too. Like you could tell he's had an effect on the younger guys, and he's just a great energy, locker room type guy. So there's more to it than just stats, like you were saying, Bean.
Yep.
So I'll give it to Beasley as well.
Yeah,
not biased, unbiased.
Unbiased, of course.
Yeah, maybe. And he's shooting 42% from three. So you weren't far off, which is unbelievable number for the amount of volume he gets. Peyton Pritchard, another guy whenever I look at his face, I just don't want to see it. I don't know what it is, but I don't even think it's being unbiased because Malik Beasley is in the running. And also, we got him for 1 year, $6 million.
Yeah.
And he's top 1 or top 2 3-point shooters in the NBA right now. So I want Malik Beasley on my team until he retires.
Agreed.
Cade Cunningham, he hasn't even just helped himself and the team. He's also helped Cade Cunningham. Because, you can't – teams are doing it right now, but they're failing and we're on a 7-game win streak because Malik Beasley – Tim Hardaway Jr., we have these guys who can make shots now that we didn't have last year. So it's a major improvement from last year. Malik Beasley is one of the biggest reasons Cade is getting all this talk too.
Sure.
Because we're winning because of Malik Beasley as well. Cade obviously is the main primary guy there.
But you needed guys around him, and Beasley's one of them.
Exactly. That's why Cade wasn't getting the recognition he was getting a few years back, even prior to the injury and after the injury for the season last year. So, yeah, I think it should be Malik Beasley. I think he's the best shooter in the NBA right now from what I've seen. He's top 3 shooter in the NBA, I would say. And yeah, I think he's well deserving of this award, and I really hope he gets it. But once again, I don't think he's gonna get it because Payton Pritchard's on the best team in the NBA or whatever. All that stupid bullshit. So that about does it for the NBA Midseason Awards, and now we're getting on to the biggest news of this weekend, and that is Steve Smith Sr. fucked a man's wife. Pretty damn crazy, guys. But
shout out to Jack McCarthy. He wanted our good buddy. He wanted us to do read these texts. So me and Maven are gonna do a read along.
A little role play.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's hear it, boys.
All right, Maven's gonna be the wife. I'm gonna be Steve Smith.
All right. Starts off with, yes, sir.
Take me deep down your throat, like you kind of like. You wanted to suck me off.
I did. I would have gagged on it, but I had to come home.
You enjoy it. You like to feel it.
I like feeling it deep in my wet.
Me too. Wait, so Steve Smith has a pussy?
No, I'm the lady.
Yeah, but he said me too.
No, he likes
the feeling.
He likes feeling it deep too.
In his wet pussy.
No, in her wet pussy.
Yeah, but he said me too, so I don't know.
Maybe the horniness fucked with his grammar. I don't know. I'm not reading. I'm not reading.
Who knows?
Okay, so he says me too. Letting you taste it though would be a turn on. He said would be S turn on. He meant to say A. Then he goes, I would have shot my nut all inside your pussy.
I love making you.
Are you talking to me?
I enjoy it more when you inside me.
Then he goes, noted. You get it. You get to feel it.
Noted.
Noted. He wrote it down in his notes.
Shit.
Just an all-time
I mean, he's probably banging
exchange right there.
He's probably banging so many people's wives. He actually did write it down. He goes, okay, this girl, the Baltimore. Apparently, she worked for
The marching band.
The marching band.
Why else would Steve Smith be running around with the marching band?
Dude, he probably actually wrote it down, and he was like, the girl in the marching band wants me to come in her pussy.
Also, did you guys see a picture of this said lady?
No, I heard. No, I've only heard some comments.
How does she look?
Some people are saying, some people, not me, some people are saying she sort of looks like Jeff Van Gundy. Not me.
Jeff Van Gundy.
Not me saying that, but just that's the chatter.
I did hear that comment. Let me see.
Damn.
Let me see.
I don't know if it's somebody that I would throw away my marriage for.
Yeah, but Steve Smith Sr. He's not a good-looking guy either. Maybe his wife didn't want it anymore.
Maybe, who knows?
But
adultery against it. We're firmly against adultery.
I loved the phone call. The phone call. He was like, yo, Steve, you fucked my wife, huh? And then Steve just goes,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, what an apologetic
This
man.
is what she looks
That's
like.
the wife.
She's wearing so much makeup.
That's how it goes sometimes, brother.
She definitely has like a lip job or something. Yeah,
Do you think he paid for that?
I mean, I feel like she had to pay him.
It's also a crazy move to air this all out. Like, what did the husband think would happen, like, airing all this out on Twitter?
I heard he like regretted it after because he deleted some tweets.
Everything, yeah.
Maybe he just wanted to.
He wanted the attention, and then he was like, "Oh shit, this is a bad idea."
Like, why? I don't know. I just feel like he could have gone like what he said to Steve in the phone call. I feel like he could have just said. I feel like he could have talked a little bit better. He was like, "You're Steve Smith Sr. You know how to talk." Like just be like, "Yo."
Pretty awkward situation talking to the guy who fucked your wife.
It sounded like he was like bowing down to him while like saying "fuck you." It was like really weird.
Yeah.
And like, it seems like he's more mad at Steve than his wife.
I would be more mad at the wife.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
He thought it would be a good idea to expose him, and then he realized that maybe being a cuck isn't
Now it backfired on him.
A good
'cause
reason to be in the
Now
spotlight.
he's just known as the cuck. It's not like, oh, Steve Smith's now known as a bad guy. It's just more of this guy's known as the biggest cuck in the world at the moment.
Yes.
How many times do you think they've clapped?
It's a good question, Ryan.
There should be a DraftKings line on that. I bet you they'd put it at like, what would you say, 14.5?
I wonder how long it's been going on. Did it say when this started?
I have not seen that. No.
Depends on when it started.
But
It could be way more than that.
It seemed like through the text, it looked like it was going on a long time. Yeah,
Months.
yeah, maybe.
If it's months, it's way over 14.5.
How often is Steve seeing her though? You think like does he live in Baltimore still?
I have no idea.
Or is he just
I
flying?
haven't been keeping tabs on Steve
Is
Smith.
he flying down to?
Should start now. we need Steve Smith Senior updates on the regular.
Yeah. So you're saying if that girl that Steve banged came up to you, you wouldn't even wince? You would just be like, oh hey.
She's like a mom. She's like a typical mom.
You don't think she's good looking, like at all?
I think every single woman is beautiful, Ryan.
Wow. Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
That putt has mine in a blender.
Then why don't you watch women's basketball?
Do you watch women's basketball for their looks? It's a little sexist, Ryan.
Yeah. Yeah, you might.
You don't
be
watch
right.
it for the competition, for the high level basketball?
Congratulations to Steve Smith. Congratulations to Steve Smith.
Congrats on the sex, Steve.
You know, he got back into the
Good
the
for you,
news.
Steve. Hopefully your marriage is okay.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
But yeah, if anyone else has anything to say, I think that about concludes our episode for today.
Yes, sir. Good pod in the books, boys.
Yeah, great pod in the books. Episode 7 in the wraps, guys. We had a lot to talk about today. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Please leave a review, a like, a subscribe, a share, a hug, anything you want to do. We love you guys. Just remember our X account, YouTube and TikTok, Loose Balls Pod 1. Our audio podcast is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, while on YouTube is the visual, which you guys are seeing right now on us. And we just want to thank you guys to the bottom of our hearts for listening. We're not going to be done soon. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep grinding this out. Keep grinding out the short-term videos on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Appreciate it. Thank you. God bless.
Love you guys.
Peace and happiness.
Deuces. Ba-na-na-na-na.